My spouse and I have agreed to get a divorce, but we just don't know how to go about dividing the things up that we have. What's the law in Florida on that? I'm often asked this question during an initial consultation. Florida is an equitable distribution state. And what that means is that the court must equitably distribute all marital assets and marital liabilities. Well, this raises two questions that we need a definition for. First, what does equitable mean? And second, what are marital assets and marital liabilities? Equitable, if you look it up in a dictionary, means fair, just, appropriate. But under Florida law, it means 50-50. Each spouse, in the majority of cases, will get half of the marital assets. So the next question then is, what are marital assets? And the definition in its simple form is any asset acquired or liability incurred between the date of the marriage and the date of the filing of the divorce petition is presumed to be marital. Doesn't matter whose name it's titled in, doesn't matter who uses it, doesn't matter who earned it, doesn't matter who incurred the debt. If it came into existence within that window of time, then it is marital. The first step in the four-step process of making an equitable distribution is to first identify the assets, secondly, classify the assets as marital or non-marital, third is to value them, and fourth is to distribute them. So applying this process, we take an inventory. We need to know everything that the spouses own or owe because we want to make sure we deal with them in the ultimate document we're going to be preparing, and that's called a marital settlement agreement. Once we have this identification of the assets, we then classify the assets as marital or non-marital. Anything you owned before the marriage, if you haven't titled it in joint names, is non-marital. Anything you earn after the divorce petition is filed is non-marital. And anything that you inherited during the marriage, received as a gift from somebody other than your spouse, is non-marital. But other than that, everything is marital. The next step is to value those assets, because obviously we're not going to divide every single asset in half. But what we are going to do is assign a value to it, and for purposes of a divorce in Florida, that's fair market value. Fair market value is not what you paid for it, it's not what it would cost to replace it, and it's not what it's insured for. It is what would it bring in an arm's length transaction. What would a willing buyer pay a willing seller, both being knowledgeable of all reasonable facts and neither being under any compulsion to buy or sell? That's the definition of fair market value. And the final step is to distribute it. And again, there's going to be a 50-50 distribution in most cases. So this is a simple way to do an equitable distribution. Now, having said that, there's a lot of intricacies that time would not allow me to go into today on this video. If you'd like a complete consultation and a careful exposition of the facts of your case and how it might play out, give us a call. We'd be glad to set up a consultation with you and spend whatever time is necessary to educate you on the laws and to give you answers as to your particular situation. Thank you. We'll be glad to help.